Have you ever wondered how much it costs to live in one of the world's most expensive cities? In this video, I'll be sharing exactly how much I spent in a week living in Sydney, Australia, and the final total may shock you. The average cost of a home here is well over $1 million. To buy a home here in Sydney, you would probably need about $250,000 in a deposit. In this video, I'll be sharing exactly how much I spent in a week living in Sydney, Australia. I'll be breaking down everything from my rent and bills as well as coffee runs. And spoiler alert, it is not cheap. Sydney is without a doubt one of the most expensive cities, and the final total may shock you. Actually, it may shock me as well. I'll leave timestamps in the description below just in case you want to skip the vlog and go to the very end and check out the total. So in total last week, I spent... Before we get started, and if you're new here, my name is Ike. I share a lot of content around living and working in Sydney. I have a full-time 9-to-5 corporate job. I live with my partner and our puppy Clifford in a 2-bedroom apartment about 20 to 30 kilometers from the city. We are the definition of dinks. I'm not sure if that's a term that's used globally, but essentially it stands for dual income with no kids by choice. We share joint expenses, and I also have my own expenses. And one of our big financial goals this year is to save up for a house together here in Sydney, even though it's becoming crazy expensive and almost impossible, but it is still an Aussie dream that we have and that we're working towards. As you're watching the vlog, please keep in mind that this is just about me sharing and tracking my expenses. It's not about personal finance or managing money or how to save. It's just about me being fully transparent about my spending. Also, to keep in mind, the cost and value of money is very subjective and relative, and it will be different for each city and country. Also, I'll be tracking all of my expenses in Australian dollars, and I'll be doing some conversions towards the end of the video. Hopefully this will be helpful if you're looking at visiting or possibly even moving to Sydney in the near future, or you're just curious about how much it costs to live here in Sydney. So with that, let's get started. Hey guys, a happy weekend. It is a Saturday morning and I've just made my coffee because I'm just about to head out and get my hair done. So I thought it would be fun to bring you along as part of this what I spend in a week and give you some insight as to how much it costs to be a girly girl here in Sydney because it is expensive. Thankfully, it's not a weekly cost or even monthly. I think the last time I got my hair done was probably 2 or 3 months ago. Actually, wait, it was before Japan, so it was probably now, oh gosh, 4 or 5 months ago. So because it's a new year, I'm kind of feeling like new year, new me. So I want to do something a little bit different with my hair. I've been dyeing my hair sort of blonde highlights for as long as I can remember. I don't actually know what my natural hair color is. I would assume it's probably something like this. Just looking in the camera, it's kind of like an off brown. So I've saved some Pinterest pictures just to show my hairdresser. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm also pretty realistic. I don't expect to walk out of the salon looking like the Pinterest hair models because the thin girlies will feel me. It is so hard to get color and texture and volume when you don't have much to work with. So I thought it'd be fun to bring you along as part of this what I spend in a week living here in Sydney. We've just got these new Sydney Metro trains, which are driverless trains. Not quite Japan standard, but it's pretty cool. This is like one of the deepest tunnels in all of Australia. It's pretty cool to have all this new infrastructure. am back home now. It has been such a long day. I think I was out for about 8 hours. I am loving the slightly darker look. I just feel like when this grows out, it will be a little bit more forgiving and my hair just looks a little bit more natural. I'm so happy with it. While I have the camera on, I thought I'd do a little bit of an unboxing. I picked up the Oribe Hair Alchemy Heatless Styling Balm. I want to try and use less heat on my hair this year, so I thought this would be a good option to help style my hair without using heat. So I can add a bit of this, put my hair in plaits or a bun and release it for more natural curls. But I have been loving the hair care range. I already have the shampoo and conditioner, and I've also got a small size of the fortifying hair treatment. This has been living in my shower and I absolutely love this hair care range. It just smells like a salon. I believe it's like watermelon and lychee. Happy weekend. It is a Sunday today and we usually just run all of our errands on Sunday and get ready for the week. But before we do all that, we have to take Clifford to the groomers because he is well overdue for a haircut. Look at him, he is so matted. I mean, I feel so bad. We left him at Doggy Hotel last week, so he was playing with a lot of friends and he's just got lots and lots of knots, and so we have to go get him groomed, and that usually takes a couple of hours. So while we're there, we might just pop into the grocery store and grab coffee. So we will take you with us and spend the day together and see how much we spend this Sunday. All right, let's head out. Adam made me out to be the bad guy to take the dog in because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no, it's just like you right now.
This is great. It's like the new lemon mango refresher. Oh, delicious. We are back from our afternoon out and I wanted to show you Clifford. Look at him, he has no ears. His ears are completely gone. Oh my gosh, he looks like a totally different dog. He's a bit salty at the moment, so he's refusing to interact with me because he feels very betrayed, but I think he looks so cute. Sorry, please ignore Clifford. That's his little sharp claws walking around the floor. We also walked around the shops and picked up some groceries from the Coles, which is our supermarket in Australia. And I didn't get anything too exciting, but you probably would have seen in the vlog. I did pick up this cup from Starbucks. It's a Stanley and Starbucks collaboration. It's from a collection based on South America and it had like little llamas on there. If you caught my vlog a couple of weeks ago, I was manifesting a future trip to Machu Picchu. So when this came up, I just felt like, oh my goodness, it's a sign. It's a sign that we're going to win that competition to go to Peru to see Machu Picchu. Yeah. So I think that's going to be us. We are just going to have a really chilled night in, make some dinner and also watch some more tennis. The Australian Open has been on our TV pretty much every night the last week or so. We've been really getting into that and there's a few good matches on tonight. So I will check in with the vlog tomorrow. Happy Monday. I have just logged off and finished work for the day. Mondays are usually days where I work from home, so I haven't had a chance to actually pick up the camera and vlog anything that I've spent today just because I have been at home all day. Anyway, it's Monday night and we are doing something very exciting. Well, at least it's exciting for us. We are heading to our local pub trivia. I don't know if pub trivia is actually a thing outside of Australia. It's definitely popular here in Australia and we go every week, rain, hail or shine, unless we're working or traveling. We absolutely love it. It's our weekly sort of date night and my partner Adam and I, we are openly so competitive. Like we we want to win, even though at our local pub, we've never actually won. Happy Tuesday. Today is an office day, so I'm in the city today walking to the office. So I thought I'd take you along with me and see what we get up to today. It is a beautiful day in the city and I always love coming to the office when the weather's really nice. Now Wednesday, my workday finished a little bit early, so I'm here at the shops to pick up some groceries for dinner tonight. I'm not sure how interesting these vlogs will be just with me at the supermarket. Just got back from the supermarket, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do a little bit of a grocery haul, I suppose, and share some of the things that we picked up for dinner. So tonight we are having, here's the receipt. So we're making sanchao bao tonight, so I had to pick up some minced chicken. So just for a cost of minced chicken, we're talking about $6, not too bad. And then we had to get some lettuce, so I got some baby cod lettuce, and this cost $3.20 for 2 lettuces. And then to make the sanchao bao, we got like the pre-made kit, and it comes with like the sauce, the noodles, and this cost about $6, and this was on sale. I never buy this unless it's actually on sale. And then my regular coffee is the Starbucks pods. One of these cost $6.50, so her pod is about 65 cents, so that's not too bad. Usually these are about $8 or $9, which I refuse to buy at that price. And also picked up some essentials, a bag of peas. Thankfully, these cost about $2, so that was the cheapest thing. Some cherries, which are still in season. Another good tip is to buy fruit that's in season, and these were about $16 a kilo, so it was just under a kilo. Most importantly, I picked up a bottle of wine. This is an Adelaide wine, which is where I'm from, my hometown. I always buy South Australian wine. This is usually about $20 and it was down to $12. The best thing about Australia is that you can get some really affordable wine. We really don't have to spend that much to get really, really good wine. So picked up that. So that was just some of the things for our groceries. I hope that was a little bit helpful as to actually how much items cost. Adam and I rant on a weekly basis as to how expensive things are. So anyway we can make a saving, we try our very best just because we are saving so hard for a house. I think that's going to be all for tonight. I'm going to open up some wine, make dinner, and enjoy the tennis. I feel like I've been talking about the tennis every single night that I've been vlogging, but that's because I've been vlogging every single day. If you want to have a few cheap nights in, start just watching sports on TV. Happy Thursday. It is now Thursday. Oh my goodness, I have been vlogging for almost a week. So kudos to anyone that does daily vlogging. Don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying it, but it has been quite a personal challenge. So amazing to anyone that does it on the daily. I've just finished work for the day and I didn't actually leave the house other than to walk my dog Clifford. So I haven't had a chance to pick up the camera because I haven't spent anything. But because I haven't actually spent anything today, I thought it might be a good chance to share with you what are some of my monthly expenses, just so you can get an insight on the costs, particularly around content creation, because I think that's something that's not really talked about either, because it actually does cost money, well, at least for me, to produce some YouTube videos. So I thought it might be interesting to share with you what some of those expenses are. Don't get me wrong, you can definitely start a YouTube channel with your phone and free apps, etc. So it doesn't actually have to cost anything. But for me personally, some of my content creation stuff does add up. So I've just put together a list, some of my subscriptions and things for content creation. So for my thumbnails, I use Canva, which costs me $20 a month. I'm actually thinking about canceling this because I know for a fact I could probably do this on like apps like Procreate. If you have any other recommendations, definitely let me know. But I don't know if it's worth $20 for about 4 or 5 thumbnails a month. I definitely think I could find an alternative option. I think the reason why I do stick with Canva is just because it fits into my ecosystem. Like I can log onto it online to any of my devices, and some of their stock footage is quite good, but beyond just creating thumbnails, I don't really use it for anything else. For my music, I'm currently subscribed to Epidemic Sound, and when I subscribed to it, I thought it was like $17, but in actual fact, it is $30 a month. The price just went up. So this is like Australian dollars. So I think in my mind, I thought it was 17, but it kind of makes sense. It was 17 US dollars, but converted to Australian dollars, it's almost twice as much. For me, I haven't really found an alternative to Epidemic Sound. I know there are other free music apps like Thematics, which I was using before Epidemic Sound. For editing software, I get some questions about what editing software I use. I use Final Cut Pro. That was just a one-off fee. I believe it was about 500 Australian dollars, which, to buy editing software for YouTube that I may or may not use, 2 or 3 years down the track was quite a huge investment. But having said that, I'm still here. I love Final Cut Pro, and for me the one-off fee was definitely worth it. So those were some of my monthly expenses. I'll include them when I calculate how much I spend in a week, because while I'm not paying for these subscriptions this week, they do add up as part of my overall weekly costs. I just remembered something else I did purchase earlier this week, and it's kind of like a subscription, but I do also buy digital books for my iPad. I purchased them off of Apple Bookstore. I think it's part of Apple, and they usually cost me anywhere between $5 to $12 per book, and I usually buy probably 2 books a month. And so this month I just purchased Abby Jimenez, Life is Too Short. Oh my goodness, I loved this as soon as I started reading it. I have not been able to put it down. It's like a light-hearted romantic comedy between 2 polar opposites. He is an alpha male at a law firm that is like brooding and structured, and she is a carefree YouTuber. Like, I've never read a book before where the main character is a YouTuber. Interestingly, because she's a YouTuber, it's really fun to digest the book from her point of view, but I have to say, it is so unrealistic because I have not seen the word editing anywhere in the book, and editing takes about 80 to 90% of creating YouTube videos. So I don't know what she's doing, but jokes aside, it's a really, really good book. So. Happy Friday. It is finally the end of the week, and we have a tradition in our household that whenever it's Friday we just don't cook. So we are heading to either Thai or Vietnamese. Don't know what we feel like yet, but there is a really good Thai restaurant in our neighborhood, so we're just gonna check that out. Guys, I wanted to quickly jump on here and do a quick unboxing with you because it honestly doesn't feel like a vlog unless I'm unboxing something. I actually brought this last week while I was filming the what I spent in a week, but it only arrived today, so I thought it would be fitting to include it in the vlog. It is finally happening. I am converting to a Kindle. If you've seen any of my past vlogs or follow me on Instagram, you may know I'm an avid reader. It's something that I've picked up in the last couple of years or so, and I just love reading. I read every single day, and it's just part of my daily habit. I usually read about 10-20 minutes before bed, and it's actually what helps me sleep. I am an e-reader because I'm trying to declutter, and I've been reading all my books on my mini iPad, but I've just noticed lately the experience on an iPad is just doesn't make it feel like I'm reading an actual book. Let's open her up together. This has actually been sold out everywhere. I went into all the electronic retail stores and I couldn't find my hand on any of them. I tried to do the right thing and support local businesses and try and find it, but it's just sold out in every single store. Like, who would have thought a Kindle is sold out in every store? So I had to resort to Prime, and this is why Amazon would always take my money. Let's open it up. Oh my gosh, she's teeny tiny. Look at how small this is. It's the 2004 Kindle 11th generation, and it comes in black, but of course I picked up the matcha green one. Oh my gosh, she's so tiny. Look how small it is. And I have the smallest hand, so the fact that it can fit in the palm of my hand, oh my gosh, this is going to be such an amazing reading experience. I'm gonna have to figure out actually how to work this. The green is so pretty. It's like a sage green. This is the fabric cover for the 11th generation. Oh my gosh, how pretty is that? It's like a pink fabric color. Oh my gosh, look at how pretty she is. I just feel like the reading experience is going to be so different. Like, this is so much heavier compared to this. I'm not sure why I didn't get a Kindle sooner, and I just think that the open and close will make it feel even more like a book. My plan is to read 20 books this year. My goal last year was, I think it was 14 or 16. But please let me know if you have any book recommendations for 2025. I read all genres of books, except I haven't gotten into the romantic fantasies yet. I know they're so popular, but I just haven't been able to dive into that genre yet, but I definitely want to this year, so welcome any recommendations. Hey guys, I'm just finalizing the edits for this vlog, so this is kind of me in the future, and I wanted to jump back on here and share my experience as to why I believe Sydney has become one of the most expensive cities in the world. At the heart of the problem, it really is just the housing affordability crisis. The average cost of a home here is well over $1 million. and that's for something very modest. I'd be lucky if I could buy a shoebox for anything less than that. Interestingly, as I was filming the intro to this, I went to go look at a house here in Sydney, and for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1 carport house about 30 kilometers from the city, the asking price was about $950,000. So it is very expensive to buy a house here in Sydney. On top of that, rents are just skyrocketing. The average cost for a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment in Sydney is easily $3,000 to $4,000 a month, and that would be considered quite affordable. So in order to save up for a house in Sydney is around 20% deposit. So doing the simple maths, to buy a home here in Sydney, you would probably need about $250,000 in a deposit. And saving that amount on top of paying the ridiculous rent is just making the Aussie dream become more and more unaffordable. Combine that with the high cost of transport as well as groceries and takeaway food. So why has it become so expensive? It pretty much comes down to the fact that Sydney has an unbeatable lifestyle and people are willing to pay a premium to live here, which is driving up competition and housing market prices. So everything is just becoming more and more unaffordable and crazy super expensive. But yet so many of us, including myself, continue to chase that Australian dream. So I wanted to share a little bit more about why Sydney is so expensive, just so you have a little bit more context as you're watching the vlog. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me this week and seeing what I get up to as well as what I spent throughout the week. So I'm at my computer with my Notion tracking sheet just so I can break down exactly what I spent this week. I'll go through each of the categories and then share the total at the very end. So for eating out this week, that includes lunch at work as well as dinner. I spent a total of $108, which I think isn't too bad because to go out on a Friday or Saturday night here in Sydney is easily $100 to $150 for food and drinks. For groceries, my contribution this week was about $45, which again wasn't too bad. I think we could get better at doing one big shop throughout the week versus these mini supermarket runs to avoid temptation and picking up extra things at the supermarket. But because we live in quite a small apartment, we can't really buy in bulk and stock up on things, so we're limited by the fact that we have quite a small place. But I could definitely get better at going to the supermarket less frequently. For beauty, wellness, self-care, I spent $675. That's a lot. But it's because I went to go get my hair done, and that's not usually something I do every week. It just happened to fall on this week that I was tracking my spending. Usually I only get my hair done every 3 to 4 months, and hopefully now that I've gone a bit darker, I won't have to get it done so frequently, but it's definitely not a weekly expense. For transport, that's including catching the train as well as having a car and paying for insurance and registration. On average, I spend about $56 a week. The transport system in Sydney is quite expensive. It's about $8 for an adult, and while I don't mind paying that much for transport, it's worse because it's really unreliable here in Sydney. We experience a lot of train strikes and bus strikes. It's just been really, really frustrating. So if you are visiting Sydney and you have something really important on, just be mindful that the trains and buses don't always work. So for household essentials, that's mainly our joint expenditure. I paid a total of $580. Most of those expenses are fixed, so that's quite average for me. Our rent here is just over $800, which is pretty average for Sydney. We were previously living in the CBD and it was almost twice that much. So rental prices in Sydney is just crazy. It's almost as much as paying a mortgage here. It's honestly so crazy. We're leading up to an Australian election and I will vote for anyone that can solve the housing crisis. It's just crazy. There are so many people moving out because it's just so unaffordable, and yet we're saving for one. And lastly, for miscellaneous items, these are things I call my non-essentials, my fun money, things I want but don't necessarily need. I spent a total of $326 last week. Most of the expense was because I picked up a Kindle and it's something I use every day, but usually I don't allocate that much to my fun money. So in total last week, I spent $1,790. Yikes. That seems like a lot. and most of it was on beauty and wellness, and followed by my household essential items, so my rent and bills. I'm curious to know if anything surprised you, whether you thought that was a lot, whether you thought it was quite affordable, or if there were any items that completely shocked you. I hope you enjoyed that little insight as to how much I spend in a week in Sydney. If you're curious about the cost of housing and rent here, then definitely check out my video around apartment hunting. That will give you a really good insight into how much it costs per week to rent a place here in Sydney. I'll also be making future videos about buying a house, how much deposit I need, getting a mortgage, as well as going to all the inspections. So do subscribe if you want to follow along on our journey to buying a house. Thank you so much for hanging out this week, and I will catch you in the next one.